Hey guys, it's Brandon. To expand on the last video, here's really kind of some more key points that I really want to stress. That just kind of drives me crazy. It's kind of like a pet peeve of mine. So back in like the 1800s and 1700s and whatever, Americans didn't sit there and say, "Ooh, if I want to solve a problem, I got to figure out who I'm going to vote for." That wasn't how they thought. It was, what's the problem? Let's solve it. Let's invent the solution. So that's what a capitalistic thinker is. A socialistic, communistic thinker thinks, oh, we got to elect somebody to save the day. And the issue is, rather than people work on solutions and putting politicians into a box where it doesn't matter what the politicians do or don't want to do, the public wants the inventions. We're no longer on a planet with capitalists, and the world leaders like it that way. So they like you to think that you're a capitalist, conservative, libertarian, blah, 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 blah. Okay, but they don't want you to understand that technically, if you were, you'd be inventing the solutions. And you say, okay, well, give us an example, Brandon. So I'll give you an example of how the world leaders have led everybody astray on purpose. This whole Bitcoin, crypto, blockchain stuff, it's basically, in my opinion, a giant Jedi mind trick, because if its whole purpose is to stop inflation, because that's what's wrong with money, is they can print more and more and more regular, fiat dollars. Okay, they can issue more currency with more lending and so on and so forth. Well, if you tell the public that the only way to solve that is to have all these different blockchains and all these blockchains in competition with each other, which one's the best, which one's the best, which one's the best, it creates all these new blockchains, which by definition is also inflation, because you're creating all this new currency out of thin air. And so even though Bitcoin is fixed in 21 million coins, you've also got Bitcoin Cash, you've also got Bitcoin this, Bitcoin, what's the other one? I can't even think of all of them. There's so many different Bitcoins at this point, but the point is, and then you have all the other ones, Purple PayPay and all these other ones, Dodgy Coin, all these different things. So you say, okay, Brandon, well, what's the other solution? Well, that's just it. I have the other solution, and ironically, it actually solves a problem with Bitcoin that Bitcoin has. See, what people don't realize is the world bankers with these ETFs for Bitcoin, they can issue more ETF than there is Bitcoin. So that defeats the whole purpose of the Bitcoin scarcity, because it's the same game they play with gold. They issue way more ETFs on gold than what actually exists in gold. So first I addressed it on, well, how can we solve it for Bitcoin? And what I soon realized was what I invented to solve the Bitcoin issue, where like if you buy an ETF or take a loan out on Bitcoin or something along those lines where Bitcoin is lended to you, you want to make sure that you're actually assigned to a specific Bitcoin and that you're not going to be left holding the bag if there's ever like a run on the bank per se, where everybody goes for the actual physical Bitcoin. So I invented this system where it keeps track of who has which node of Bitcoin you're issued, okay, which serial number of Bitcoin you're issued, and make sure that there's no double dipping. Well, in doing so, I've invented something where if you just completely take away the Bitcoin, the thing functions as its own currency. And what's ironic is you can also attach it to the US dollar and gold. Gold is harder because technically you can melt gold back down and it has a different serial number if you restamp the gold. But the point is, and that's what makes gold vulnerable, by the way. There's no permanent serial number on gold. You can play magic tricks with gold. But what I'm getting at is, as far as the US dollar is concerned, this invention that I came up with, it can also be attached to US dollars, both digital and paper form, as well as coins if need be, all these different things. But the point is, it becomes its own currency. You don't need to attach it to anything else. And it's kind of like the do-all end-all. And it really spooks me because those of you who know me well, you know my initials are lowercase BBB. And that's what this channel is called, BBB Vet Titans. And that's been my logo since I was in my teens. I used to do uppercase BBB, and then somebody's like, that's Better Business Bureau, you can't do that. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll do lowercase BBB. So you've got these prophecies that say that there's going to be this dude who comes along who releases this currency, and it's going to completely change the game. And I didn't intend to do that. That wasn't my goal. Instead, I was just trying to solve a problem that everybody was complaining about that no one was trying to actually solve themselves. And ironically, when you solve the problem, the world leaders have these prophecies that say that you're Satan. So, but for me, the bad coincidence is my initials are the BBB. Okay. So at that point, you sit there and you ask yourself, well, wait a second, what's going on? Good question. I wonder if I'm in a coma. I wonder if this is just a bad dream and I'm supposed to just get this over with. And so the thing is, I'm getting older. I know I'm not going to live forever, especially if we don't release telomerase and cures, how to defeat cancer, then we're definitely not living forever, okay? We're not living longer. So it's kind of like I'm to the point in my life where it's like, well, let's start rolling the dice. So it's like I try to have conversations with my good friends about this stuff. And what's really interesting is they don't like the idea. And so I'm going to pick on my other friend now. He is so invested into cryptocurrencies that he's blind to the idea that my situation, that this thing that I've invented, solves the problem, and that you don't need blockchain to solve the problem. You can do it with centralized servers. You just have to address the real problems that people complain about, and then it'll work. And so let's see here. So with that said, it's very frustrating. It's very frustrating when your own best friends don't want to understand an idea, back an idea, be excited about an idea, but then you hear them get excited about all these other things. And for me, it's not even about the friendship. It's not like you should be excited about my idea because you're my best friends. For me, it's the fact that they're not excited about the idea because it's the idea. They don't think that it's our responsibility to solve the problem. They think that all they got to do is just vote a certain way and they think that blockchain is just the do-all end-all of solutions, and it's not. And this thing that I have proves it. As you can imagine, this thing that I have probably puts me in danger because it affects very wealthy people and their investments. And when you put on top this thing about these prophecies, it really puts me into a weird spot. It's like, what is going on here? So I've been very hesitant to release this stuff. Now, that's only one of my inventions. I have all these other inventions, but ironically, they all daisy chain together. All kinds of different inventions, different avenues, different things, they all daisy chain together. So I just want to stress that. I have reasons for my hesitation so far, and I'm really kind of at the point where I'm ready to roll the dice. But what's ironic is when you don't even have your own friends in your corner saying, we see why you're doing it, that makes sense. It makes you wonder who you're doing it for, because you start to realize, well, heck, if my own friends aren't excited about it, who else is going to be excited about it? But the Vet Titans channel has taught me that there are strangers out there who are excited about the same things that I am. So that's no longer the fear. Now it's just the question of how many illogical people are out there who are just attached to a prior belief system, and they refuse to believe that there was a option 3 that's better than option A or B, which is what they were debating endlessly. It's like you get people so ingrained that option B is the best, and other people so ingrained option A is the best, that then when you come along with option C, they don't even want to hear it. They're like, no, I'm on B team. No, I'm on A team. And that's really where, anyway, that's where most humans are going to fall. And it really scares me because I think that some of my friends are going to fall into those two categories. Just, you see what I'm saying? Anyway, see ya.